Alright, so this is the how to start it video. I typically get my epoxy in the gallon size container or 2-gallon size container if people have been paying their invoices on time. I'm currently using Counterculture DIY. It's about, I would say, 100 to 110 with shipping. And what I do is I have my part A and my part B. I set my part A in front of the heater for a while. Counterculture is a little thicker, so you want to really kind of have your part A really warmed up. What I do is I do all my measuring and mixing with bathroom cups. You want to make sure your bathroom cups are not wax lined. I got these at Costco. Huge pack, I don't even know. I have medicine cups to measure out what I need. I keep my popsicle sticks separate. I change those out every once in a while. But pretty much I start with my part B and I do 30 milliliters. With these type of bottles though, they're just like the 97-cent ones at Walmart or whatever, or Dollar General, Dollar Tree, wherever you can find them. If you squeeze too hard, the lid will pop off. Please don't do that. I've already done that. It's been a huge mess and a waste of product. So I get it to the 30 milliliter line and I set it down. Then I take my part A, which is nice and warm and squishy, and I do the same thing. Again, I'm not squeezing the daylights out of this because I don't want my lid to pop off again, because I want to say that happened to me within the past 2 or 3 days and it was not very fun. But it sure teaches you how to clean stuff up quick, huh? So pretty much you do 30 and 30. My 30 and 30 will get me at least 3 cups done. So if you're doing 1 cup at a time, I would measure it out that you're doing maybe, like for a 20 milliliter, I would do, or sorry, 20 ounce, I would do something that is more like 10 and 10, or if you're working with like raw glitter, meaning you're ready to coat it for the first time, you should have clear coated it. And it all depends on your cup size. This right here is a 30 ounce skinny. If it's a 30, I would use 15 and 15. So pretty much what your milliliter or your ounces are. I just simply take my part B, put it in the cup first, scrape out all that extra. You're gonna need like a space heater if you use Counterculture. I've heard different things about different resins being affected by humidity in different states and yada yada yada. I live in Pennsylvania. I have worked with East Coast resin. It was alright. I worked with Artworks resin, I believe, and I just switched over to Counterculture because I like the fact that it has the 500-degree temperature and it is UV resistant, which means that your cups are not going to yellow as quick as they might with some of the cheaper stuff. And I found that Counterculture is like amazing in comparison to what I had been using. So pretty much I have my space heater going and it heats up my part A, and it just constantly is blowing on my multiturner. And so what you do is after you start mixing, it's just in there, you just start mixing it. You don't want to like stir it like crazy, because if you stir it like crazy you'll get air bubbles. But you want to start to stir it so that it gets cloudy, depending on your patience factor and what other factors you got going on with kids and cups and whatever craziness in your life. You might want to just take a minute and set it down in front of your heater. Double check on life and come back to it. This has a work time, I believe, of 10 to 20 minutes. I'm not sure. I like to just kind of let it set for a second, because the warmer it is, the better it works for me. I do go in and mix it, scrape the sides, scrape the bottom. You want to stir. The biggest thing that I did when I first started was I was changing cups all the time. I'm not sure why, but I would like take this and I'd dump it into a new cup and I'd stir it, and I have no idea what the point of it was, but I wasted a lot of popsicle sticks and a lot of probably epoxy drippage and bathroom cups. Probably killed the environment a little bit too. So that's pretty much it as far as mixing your epoxy, part A, part B. I'm gonna get my turner going and show you how to apply it. Okay, so sometimes what I do at this point is if I'm feeling super impatient, I will take my heat gun. I try not to use this thing too much anymore because, you know, it just blows particles around in the air like glitter and fuzzies and things like that. But I try and pop some of the bubbles on the top so I can see how clear versus cloudy it is, and just stir again. scraping the sides as we go. And I'm gonna go check on my door banger back here, little Miss Blaze, while that sets up a little bit more. Okay, so now my epoxy has been mixed. It's pretty clear and it's actually pretty liquidy right now too. I did go ahead and make up another batch because I typically burn through 2 cups of this pretty quick. And like I said, with one, I can probably get like 3 or 4 coats out of it, depending on what size cups I'm working on. Right now, I'm working on some bigger things, so it'll probably last me like 2. This one is currently mixing and can just chill for a sec. Sorry for the kid in the background. They tend to demand things all the time, so do what I can when I can. So this is a cup that has been treated using the torch method to get the rainbow holographic look to it. Pretty much any kind of holographic cup, or sorry, holographic glitter that you have could do the torch effect, and it will look pretty neat. So all I do is I pour a little bit out at a time. This takes practice. You're not going to want to like mix up a whole bunch and just guess it out. I've been doing these for about a year. So I do a little bit and I go in strips with my finger. I have seen some people that don't like to get their hands all up in it, so they will use one of the silicone brushes. I have some laying around somewhere, just apparently not right here. And all you do is you do a nice light even coat over the whole thing. I just kind of slide my finger down as I go, as it spins. And then when you get to the bottom, and make sure it goes the whole way around. And then you're going to want to add it to the bottom a little bit. Now, I don't do the whole taping stuff off. If I do, I don't like do anything crazy. But all I'm going to do at this point is rub up to smooth it. Make sure I have even coverage the whole way. And then, as like my final seal the deal for a cup, because I don't want it to like spin and have dry spots, I go through and I do a thin, very thin bead that goes up and down and up and down until I get back to the original, and then I just simply smooth it out. Now, if I have a cup that I know is struggling like up here at the rim, I might add a little at the rim as well. This cup, however, I have had struggles with it getting drips. When I have it on my multi-turner, if I don't have my multi-turner even, it has a tendency to get a little upset and leave what I refer to as nipples on my cups. So this is, I'm just going over it lightly this time so that I don't have to worry about sanding it down again, and I've gone through this cup about 2 or 3 times now with little nipples. So that's pretty much it. At this point, if you have a single turner, you just let it spin. If you have a multi-turner, at this point you pop it off and put it on your multi-turner. However, I have to do mine balanced, so I'm going to switch over to my other cup. Hold on. Okay, so this is a 24-ounce bottle that I have going, and I will help you in a second, babe. And you just do the same thing. I didn't switch my gloves in between. I should have done so, because when you work with raw glitter, it has a tendency to stick to your glove. I don't have too much on this new one, glitter-wise, but I am going to stop and switch because I'm seeing a piece here or there, and the kaleidoscope glitter that is on the other one, super beautiful, but it picks up everywhere. So I'm just going to go in and pick my pieces off. I think that's good. That one might just be in there. Okay, so switch your gloves out if you need to. I usually wait until I'm done the 2, and I put them on the turner together and go like that. This one is a natural geode. I did a tutorial on how to do this before. I did not show you how I draw the lines. It's just pretty much Sharpie or paint pen, and you go through. You can't do it until you have a decent smooth layer of epoxy, and then even then now I have to go back and fix some because I sanded some areas down that needed sanding, but kind of messed up my drawing stuff. So it'll be alright. It's just everything ends up being a work in progress, and you'll find that the more you go and the more you make cups, the more you know you get about different things, and it's just part of being an artist. So I've gone through and the cup has been coated the whole way. It's kind of dry up here at the top, but I'm going to go through and do that thin layer like I did on the other one until I get back around. And I am back around. So let me just pull it up to the top, and then we're going to get ready to switch over to my multi-turner here so we can see what goes on with that. Okay, so I'm just going to sit that down. I have two different style turners. This one has a screw mount, the other one does not have the screw mount part. So you have to start unscrewing it. Ideally, you should probably turn the motor off. I'm too lazy. So. My multi-turner is over here. Let me show you. It's currently skipping because it needs to be balanced out. And I balance it out by doing one on the bottom, one on the top. Sorry, that's in the way. But then once you have two on that are pretty even, then they can spin freely. I have my postal scale here as well to measure out my cups, and I do it every other one. So I will put one here and then one on the other side up here. So, and I'm gonna go right into another coating. Just because my epoxy is starting to heat up and you wanna apply it before it gets too warm and too thick and sticky. But if it gets to the point where it's going to be too much to put it on a cup, meaning it's too thick, too stiff, too warm, you could dump it into a mold at that point. I have a tendency of doing that sometimes if I let my epoxy sit. I usually have little molds hanging out here on my table. I can throw in some alcohol inks or some glitter quick and just call it a day. Again, we sweep it up. This is a peekaboo cup that I'm working on for a swap that I'm in. Not really sure how it's turning out yet or what all's going on it. I'm not done. And then you just go through. You do your trickle again. When you get to the point where you're running low on epoxy, that's when I do the thing of adding a little around the rim, because this cup is pretty much empty. So now this one can just spin while I get my next one ready. This is my other cup of epoxy, and we are going to switch over here. Stir it a little bit quick. This is yet another one of my torch cups. This is using a glitter from Glitter Gang. Mamarazzi, I believe is what it's called. And kind of just making this one for her because sometimes people go through stuff and sometimes it's nice to just make a cup for somebody. Blend it up. And again, if you're just doing one cup at a time, whatever the ounce is that you're working with, I would just do, like this is a 30 ounce, I would do 15 and 15. Or if it's a 20 ounce, do 10 and 10. If you're worried that you don't have enough, then do a little bit more. It's fine, but don't go overkill and burn through all your epoxy. Because I used to do a lot where my epoxy would dump off the cup, and now I just cringe when I see that. So take it easy on your epoxy. I dropped on myself. It's okay. Okay, make sure it's all good, bottom to top. And the bottom. And then do just a little bit. And then I'll get ready to put these two on my multi-turner. Now, all of these turners my husband made for me out of either microwave motors or rotisserie turners. I have some other like Ferris wheel type ones that I'll show you another time because I'm just not using them today. So that's pretty much it for that guy. So at this point I have 4 on and it's pausing a little bit. If I need to balance it out more, I will add empty footballs to the opposite ones that seem to be pausing a little bit more. And that's pretty much it.